Welcome to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Every week, you can have the conversations you've always wanted to have about the films you love.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. Not another peep.
Get rid of your distractions and prepare yourself.
Then lock your door. 5, 6, crucifix.
You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
Welcome everybody to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Danny Bonin here with you.
And Scotty Bonin here with you guys.
We are
the Blood Brothers.
And
the Rob. Wait, no, that's not me.
Wait!
It's Carmelo.
Carmelo Camara!
The Rob sounds a lot thinner and cleaner.
Whoa. What happened to your voice, Rob? You kind of, what's going on there?
Yeah, I shaved all the pubic hair off my face, and now my voice sounds a lot smoother.
Ah, that's the secret.
All right.
Very nice.
I've also developed a small Chicago accent somehow.
Yeah.
You sound like our other co-host, Carmelo Camara.
Yeah. Who's missing today?
Who's not here?
All right. Well,
No, Rob couldn't make it, dang.
yes, Rob is kept at work late. Can't make it. He sends his regards. Sorry.
He's at the Tallahassee airport and is working
Doing
into
work.
the late hours, the wee late hours, surveying.
Yes. So, but that's why we have 4 hosts. Well, that's not really why. It's because Carmelo's awesome. But we have 4 hosts. One of the added benefits is that someone can miss, and we still have an apt amount of people.
Yeah, there's still 3 of us.
to host.
Yeah, for a
Which
discussion.
3 is better than 2, and 4 is better than 3. So there we go.
Yeah, because when it was just like the 2 of you guys at the beginning, that's rough. Like if one of you couldn't do it, there was no show that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was rough anyways.
It was rough. Well, it was rough anyways because we both had to keep talking a lot, and like while one person's talking, then the other one has to come in, and it's like there was a little more dead space,
You know why it's rough is because I'm an asshole, and for some reason, Scotty
We're brothers.
sometimes is just able, like he doesn't even do anything, it just annoys me, and then I just get irritated, and then so when people are listening to the podcast, it's just they're like, why is he so irritated, and what's even going on?
And then I just keep pushing his buttons, and he gets more irritated.
And so when Rob came in and was a guest for a while, he sort of smoothed things over.
Yeah.
Well, it was a barrier between us.
And it wasn't like every episode. It was like it would hit or miss. There'd just be a few things.
I will admit,
a few episodes.
I do sit here sometimes wondering when Scotty's going to stop talking.
I wonder sometimes, have you ever listened to the show afterward? Because I feel like Rob didn't smooth anything over. Rob just gave Danny somebody new to be pissed at when he doesn't watch the movies or whatever.
Oh, yeah, because Danny's pissed at Rob, too, at times.
What happens with me and Scotty is that when I just really am mad and like irritated, and I don't even feel jovial and want to do the podcast. But then when it's Rob that I get to be angry at, I can just throw these happy insults at him, and I feel like I'm just joking around,
It's true.
And then Rob jokes around, too. It doesn't go to his heart. It doesn't go to my heart, either.
House 2.
Yeah.
The second story.
It was a film.
It was.
Yeah, that was a movie that was made.
That's true. People were in it. Someone wrote it, and they made it. Yeah, that happened.
That's amazing.
All right, what did you watch?
Wait, that's not until the very end.
On to our final segment.
Yes. Anyways, no. I have plenty of notes. As I've said in the last episode, I did get the Blu-ray collection. Watched a commentary, watched a featurette. I just to sort of get our format down here as we have been doing lately. I'm going to just do an opening thought. So.
Ooh.
Opening. Well, I don't know, Carmelo. What opening thoughts first or story rundown? Let's do story rundown first.
Yeah, all right. So I think the story rundown is for those of you who want to listen to the podcast today but haven't seen House 2 and you want to follow along with our genius insights. Or maybe you've seen it but you just haven't had a chance to rewatch it. Can't imagine why not, though. This is one fun for the whole family every day of the week. Mm-hmm. But here's what happens in House 2. And you got to bear with me because I'm not on drugs as I say this. But here's what happened. The movie picks up. It's in this, from the exterior, kind of looks like a Victorian haunted house. Different from the first house, totally different house. Inside, it looks more like a temple. It has the construction of a house, but there's lots of like stone pillars and an altar and things. But I only mention it to set the stage because it's the name of the movie. In any case, there's a family living there. They send their baby away for safety. And they're both killed by this like shadowy, ghostly cowboy figure. And up to this point, everything seems pretty scary. He's looking for some kind of skull. And we jump 25 years later. The baby's grown. He's moving back into the house with I thought it was his wife, but given how quickly she leaves him later, I assume his girlfriend. They move back in, and he's doing research into his family's history. Some friends come to stay with them. And he discovers that his great-great-grandfather, who was like from cowboy times, had discovered this, don't sue me, George Lucas, crystal skull. And this crystal skull is magical and everyone's after it. And he thinks he knows where it is. It's in his great-grandfather's grave. He digs up his great-great-grandfather, and lo and behold, the skull has kept him alive. And basically the last scary thing that happens in the movie is when the corpse wakes up, and then after that, it's a rip-roaring good time while the cowboy zombie great-great-grandfather teams up with his great-great-grandson and his idiot friend Charlie, and they try to protect this crystal skull from a Halloween party, a caveman, dinosaurs, the evil cowboy who comes back. I'm sure I missed some nonsense in there. Rooms of this house are like portals to different times and space. And they're trying to protect this skull because it's keeping the great-great-grandfather alive. And in the end, I can't even remember the main character's name. Totally blanked on his name. But in the end, he faces down the cowboy ghost that killed his parents. Jesse, thank you. That's right. Jesse and the great-great-grandfather are both named Jesse.
Both named Jesse.
Yeah.
And Jesse faces down the cowboy that killed his parents, saves the day. Great-great-grandfather does not survive, and they bury him back in time because now everyone just ran away to like the year 1800, I guess. Yeah. And happy ending because in the present, everyone thinks Jesse is like a maniac for shooting up his house and shooting at ghosts and stuff. So probably for the best that he stayed there. I guess there's a subplot too where his wife leaves him because she thinks she's cheating on him at the Halloween party. So he probably didn't need to stay in the present for her either.
I wonder if that is his wife or were they just dating? Was that his wife?
But she lives in the house with him, so that's a serious relationship.
Yeah.
It seems like it was his wife at first, but then like she leaves him so suddenly, it's like they were dating.
It's probably for the best. She did have really thin, pink lip glossy lips. I'm not down with that.
I'd rather have pink glossy lips than full-on lipstick.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's such a tough...
Oh.
Such a
See,
conundrum.
to me, guys, variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
I like it all.
I don't know. I don't like any of it. I need naked lips.
I don't like lipstick at all. I don't mind a little lip gloss, but this
has been the Cult Classic Fashion Show with the Blood Brothers and Camilla Camara.
We just had this chat in the elite group. It's Exorcist 2 lipstick or lip gloss is just out of control.
Oh yeah, with Linda Blair. Although she does look her best in that movie, but the lip gloss is a little.
It's not a high bar you set there. She looks pretty bad in the first one, if you remember.
Yeah. That was good. It's a good storyline.
Sorry, I feel like that went a little long this time. The story's a bit rambling, so I had difficulty determining what.
It's all over the place, man.
Yeah, it is all over the place. And so my opening thought, I like this movie. It's a fun time. It's a stretch to call it a horror movie. There are people arising from the dead and other worlds. So there are some elements of horror, but really, like you said it, Carmelo, the whole family can watch it. It's even when I was listening to the commentary, I think Ethan Wiley, director-writer, said, I just watched this with my 6-year-old last weekend, and they loved it. And then also, when it came out, I don't know what publication this came from, but it was in the top 10 films of that year for ages 10 to 13.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Kids love this, I bet.
So, and what Ethan Wiley did say is that, yes, it is sort of akin to what came later with Goosebumps type episodes or movies. It sort of reminds you of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even Goosebumps, I thought, was a lot scarier, at least in my memory, than this was. Yeah, Scotty, what's your first impression?
Yeah, like what Danny said, this was it was a great time. More of an adventure film than a horror film, almost like a Jumanji, but like people swinging from ropes and going into the tomb and the Indians and all this. But yeah, I was entertained, and it had some great lines, some great dialogue, and it was cool that it all took place inside the house with all the parallel dimensions and whatnot. And
I feel like Scotty's talking louder because we don't have headphones on.
Am I?
I could be wrong.
I think I'm talking less loud.
Are we loud, Carmelo?
We don't have headphones on now.
You don't sound loud to me. I mean, as usual, Scotty's voice gives me an erection, but it's nothing.
Oh, well. That's because it's so low and bassy.
Exactly.
All right.
But yeah, it was a good sequel, quote unquote, even though it has nothing to do with the first movie. But I liked it. I like it as almost a standalone movie. It was very entertaining.
Well, it is a standalone movie. The way that sorry, Carmelo, thoughts?
Yeah, my first impression is I liked it, but because I like fun horror comedy, I don't think it needs to be scary, and I don't think a funny movie can't have zombies and stuff in it. It's very earnest, scared, stupid, very I don't know, hocus pocus maybe or something like that. But unlike some of those other horror comedies, Addams Family maybe comes to mind. This one didn't have anything in it to me that was very memorable. I mean, there's definitely stuff in there that's there's like a skeleton horse that's stop motion that was pretty cool and things like that.
A lot
but
of stop motion.
On the whole, I can't ever see myself being like, man, I'm in the mood for House 2. That's where it left me. It left me a little unsatisfied.
I feel like if you had some Pizza Hut in front of you, you could watch House 2 again.
You're right. That was my mistake. I didn't have my Pizza Hut.
Yeah, it didn't grip me as much as like Army of Darkness does, or like like in any other, or like at other horror comedies.
It was just a good time. I think you'd have the ultimate good time if you had Pizza Hut and you had this film, but you slipped in the Fall Break theme song from Mutilator.
Yeah,
and you're set.
And
pretty
and you're just
song.
You don't need to watch it with your eyes glued to the screen. You're kind of just watching it, and it's on the background. But yeah.
Rob is absent, but Scotty is going to give a feeble attempt at Rob's rundown at last minute.
I figured it is last minute, so bear with me if I just butcher this. And I know Carmelo kind of gave a little bit of a rundown because the story is kind of a rundown too, even.
Yeah.
But here we go. House 2, 1987, the second story, or should I say House 2 and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Sorry, George Lucas. So we have...
This came out way before that.
I know. But, so that's what I like to call it, because we see the skull so much. Okay, so we have zombie cowboys, a giant rat creature, prehistoric dinosaur land, time travel, parallel dimensions, an electrician who carries a sword with him, a caterpillar dog, pantsless dancing, another very, very low-cut V-neck shirt. This is a white V-neck this time. A Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber lookalike.
Pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
Exactly. We have political TV host Bill Maher.
Maher.
And we have Kane Hodder dressed in a gorilla suit. That's my little short rundown.
I just want to say we had lots of females with large hair and shoulder pads, and lots of females with bright lip gloss. I think that's all I wanted to add on there.
Any more add-ons?
And an obvious exterior location set and interior soundstage set.
Yes. Prehistoric dinosaur land.
And that was Rob's rundown, as performed by Scotty Bowman.
Hey,
Yes. A little bit on the slim
Well
side,
done.
but that's all right.
slim, but I just threw it together like as I was sitting here before we did it.
I feel like yours was less aggressive than Rob's is
well,
very, in a good way.
Yeah, I like aggressive. I like the
I miss
less
Rob's
aggressive.
rundown.
That was still
Yeah,
decent.
I'm just kidding.
Still came up for it.
All right. Well,
Still.
All right, now let's
made up
dive
for it.
into this sucker.
Let's dive into
I
this.
started to say this and then refrained so that we could get our opening thoughts in, but truly, this is a standalone movie. Basically, it's anthology. So this is what John Carpenter was going to do with Halloween, and that's what they tried to start doing with House. And that was, it's not. Everyone hates Halloween 3 because, first of all, because they're idiots, and second of all, because they're just in love with Michael Myers.
all
When
idiots.
in fact, Carpenter's idea was to have a Halloween anthology. It's just based around Halloween, and it's a different horror story every year or every time they make a movie. Granted, he probably messed up by making 2 movies with Michael Myers and then making the third one an anthology, because then you're used to 2 in a row with Myers in it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of anthology, I watched the DVD for this, and there was a preview for Creepshow 2. So, anyways.
Obviously, anthology, not that kind of anthology where it's 4 stories in one film.
Yeah,
this
but
is
this is a
Right,
little
but
bit
the
different.
series is an anthology,
exactly. So that's what
which
happened.
I love.
Yeah.
I think is awesome when they do that because, Hollywood probably has floating around it dozens of haunted house scripts that of varying quality. And I get why studios don't want to bet on new intellectual properties all the time, right? That's why you see, Halloween become synonymous with Michael Myers or whatever, and they just want to keep churning out Myers because it's what worked. Don't change it. Well, I think studios would do well to think outside the box and build the brand around just the name House, for example, and if they've got haunted house scripts that they like, release them under this brand that they fit into. Now you're not just betting on a brand new script, you're also building up an established brand, and that's a way to kind of have your cake and eat it too with original material.
Yeah, well, after the pretty sort of success of the first House, it was successful. It was pretty much number 1 the opening weekend. They wanted the studio, Lionsgate, I believe, wanted to come out right away with something. Had Sean S. Cunningham produce again. Sean S. Cunningham got Ethan Wiley, said, I need a script. Can you get me one in 2 weeks?
And he wrote it in 2 weeks, right? Yeah.
It shows.
Ethan Wiley said, yes, but can I direct? And Sean Cunningham took pause for a second, but then was like, you know what? I trust this guy. He has the vision for it. We can fill in the gaps of his knowledge with whoever, other people on set, the DP, fill in the blank. So he did deliver, and that was both of their ideas. They got together on it and said, look, we can't use the same actors because they're going to want more money. We have about the same budget, considered low budget, $2 to $3 million. And they thought about using Big Ben again, but technically he was exploded into smithereens at the end of the last one. So they both just sort of agreed and said, hey, let's just make this
Clean slate.
like an anthology thing. So this is just another haunted house story, exactly what Carmelo said. It makes me think Carmelo watched the commentary because that's exactly what they said. He's like, we're going to have this brand that's House that is just going to be a different haunted house story every single time, but it's still going to have that same palette of the main thing they kept repeating was when you open a door, you don't know if it's going to be scary or funny. With House 2, I feel like you thought it was going to be funny every time. With House, you truly sort of didn't. It was like scary sometimes, and it was funny sometimes. I'll be interested to see what the third one, but according to feedback I'm seeing in the group and on chat threads, the third one is nothing like House 1 or 2, or is more horror anyway.
Well, the third one and the fourth one have R ratings, and this is PG-13, so I think it's a little bit more decapitation, blood here,
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when we do that episode. But I've heard that it wasn't called House 3 initially, or at least in America, because of that, because it was off-brand.
It was called just like the horror stories or something, right?
Horror show?
Horror show, yeah, that's right. And then it was called House 3 in the UK.
Right.
Ethan Wiley was 25 years old when he wrote and directed this, or coming up on 25.
Jeez.
For directorial debut, really got into the business on Star Wars, creating Ewok feet. He worked under the effects guy on this movie, which is, I can't believe
Is it Mac Ahlberg?
No, that's the cinematographer, DP.
Oh, yeah.
No, the effects guy, do you have it pulled up?
I can look here.
Okay.
Keep talking while I look.
Yeah, anyways, he worked under the effects guy who did effects for this film. He didn't work under him on this film, obviously, because he directed it, but he worked under him on a couple films doing effects, and then once he got this film, he got the effects guy to do it, the company to do it for pretty cheap, much less than they would normally do it for, because, they were friends. He called in a favor, essentially. It was a low budget, according to their terms, and he called him in and said, basically, hey, the effects guy said, what are you trying to get for this kind of money? And Ethan Wiley just says, anything, whatever you can give us, please.
Chris Wallace?
Yes, Chris Wallace. Yeah, Chris Wallace's company. So, and so that's why, and what Chris Wallace said, and I'm sort of getting spread all over the place here, is that so they took things that were around the shop they had made before. Some of those little puppets, ton of puppets in this film. They took puppets that they had already made or already had pieces to and created them, and they just, on a lower budget thing, what Chris Wallace said is that they're not so worried about making it real, if that makes any sense. Not that anything they do is really real, but sometimes you want it to look as though it could be real, But when you see this catter puppy, or you see the little bugs, even the pterodactyl puppet, you're like,
that was awesome.
That's not even close to being real, So that's where they get a little cheaper. As they cut corners, they can make these things look a little outlandish. They don't have to put so much work into making them look real.
Which fit this movie perfectly. Yeah. The outlandish
I didn't mean to cut you
stuff.
off, Carmelo.
No. I was just gonna say, like, it's the age-old, practical effects, argument. Do you prefer practical effects or CGI? And I just think, like, I don't know anybody who prefers CGI.
No.
I don't know a single person who says, like, they should have just CGI'd that. Because even when the stuff does look fake, it's still real. I mean, the puppy caterpillar was weird and it looks goofy, but there was no doubt that there was a physical thing there in my mind.
But he's so cute.
He's adorable. No, I thought that actually was a highlight of the movie.
He was the best.
That's actually how my penis
The pterodactyl
looks.
was cute, too. That's how your penis looks?
Yeah.
It's all caterpillary with eyes?
No, actually, no. Does yours? Because if it does, you might want to have that checked out.
That's not how all penises look?
I think just yours, man.
Oh.
We used to compare penises back in the day. I was wondering something.
I don't know about that. All right, so let me get back to my notes here. The house so I did mention the house is an actual location. They found that down near USC and just thought they'd never find the perfect mixture of a house to fit this storyline that was Aztec, Western, and they saw this
prehistoric.
House prehistoric, and it really does the exterior fits the bill because you can't really tell what era. It almost looks like it could be castle-like, but then it looks like it could be sandstone-ish, historic. It sort of does fit the bill, I think.
Was the inside of the house the actual inside of that house?
No. I'm sorry if you hear Elliot screaming.
Because the railings were very elaborate and rock-like.
No, it was not the inside.
I didn't think it was.
It was very obvious.
It looked fake.
Soundstage.
Yep.
At first, when I saw that, I didn't like it. I said, this is way too elaborate. No inside of any house would look like this. But as I watched the movie more and as I went back with the commentary, I guess it does sort of match the over-the-topness of everything in this film and everything in the house. So I don't know. I'm sort of torn on that.
Mm-hmm. The house is the Stimpson House in Los Angeles, California, built in 1881 from businessman Thomas Stimpson. It was his house. So, fun fact.
I don't know if you had an opinion on the interior, Carmelo, but...
Yeah, I did, because when I first saw it took me right the hell out of it. I was like, they are trying way too hard with this haunted house at first. But I should say that it does wrap around to the plot, and the Jesse the Great, whatever you want to call him, Jesse the Greater, the old one. He's explained that like the house is designed to be a kind of an Aztec temple, or it's designed to be like those temples. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that was actually kind of cool, because then I kind of had this idea in my head of this like, adventurer, explorer who pulls these artifacts, and he had to build this house just to hold on to this crystal skull because it needs this like temple. And once I heard that, I started to appreciate it more. But in the beginning of the movie, I just thought to myself, man, they really missed the mark.
Yeah, those handrails are very, that's what I thought, very cardboardy and rock.
It was very set-ish, if that's a term.
Well, that graveyard that they get Gramps out of, you could that's a complete set. You could totally tell.
Was actually, the graveyard was half and half. It was a set, but then some of the trees in the background and up above were on location.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'll get to some of that in a little bit, some of the surprising location stuff. But anyways, just a couple fun facts. When the parents in the opening come down and they hand the baby off to a lady who gets in the car, that is Ethan Wiley's girlfriend at the time, director Ethan Wiley. And then I think the dad looks like a young Eric Bana.
He does.
Totally.
The dad is the same guy that played the lieutenant in the first House. It's the same actor.
Huh.
Yeah, I was just reading that. I forgot what his name is, but he's the lieutenant, and his name's Clarence in this, and he's the lieutenant. I forgot what his damn name is. I'll look it up here.
So we're introduced to the characters. Jonathan Stark, who played Charlie, who I thought at first was his entrance was the most. It just made me hate him. The most annoying thing ever when he's drunk, falling out of the car, and I just said, get rid of this fucking idiot. But then I learned to love him.
Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber, you mean?
Yeah, he's similar, not very much, but sort of, I guess. He has the similar haircut, but sort of receding hairline. He's an improv comedian from Groundlings, and ended up sort of got out of acting after this and into writing, and was one of the head writers for Ellen, the Ellen show, which coincidentally the guy who played Ari, who played Jesse, was on Ellen as well after this.
Jonathan Stark.
Yeah.
Jonathan Stark is the villain from Fright Night as well.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, nice.
Which is he did right before this.
Mm-hmm.
Have we reviewed Fright Night?
We need to.
But we need to.
Need to do it. Yeah.
Nice.
That takes us. My next note is about the cemetery, though. It's part of it is on location in Redwood Grove, in a Redwood Grove in Griffith Park, Southern California. And not to jump ahead, but they actually did where he opens the door into the room and it's the jungle in the room. Mm-hmm. That's actually Griffith Park in the same Redwood Grove, and they brought the door sets to the forest and put them in there, and then dressed the forest with some more jungle-like stuff, like leaves and palms and all that kind of stuff. So
that's smart. You have the trees back there in the background. Then
I completely thought it was the opposite. It was going to be an interior set into another interior set, but no, that was on location. Obviously, the other stuff is all matte painting, the dinosaur in the background and the stars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The tree ton of matte painting.
A lot of animation there. Yeah.
The stop motion. So.
Dwyer Brown was the lieutenant's name and plays the dad in this. So, anyways,
you also have Royal Dano, who's about 70 years old at this time.
He was awesome in this as Gramps.
He does a great job. And
Gramps.
I don't know him really, but he was in a lot of older westerns, Clint Eastwood movies. He was in a Hitchcock
Outlaw
movie.
of Josie Wales, and
he was in Bonanza, a few episodes of Bonanza, and just had quadruple bypass surgery before this film. And they couldn't, I guess their issues, they couldn't insure him. No production insurance would cover him. And they just, I guess they just did it without insuring him. I don't know what that means for the production. They must have insured production, but just left him out or something, somehow.
So they could have passed on him, but obviously they used him because he has that Western character, and he played the zombie cowboy. They were actually, I was watching this thing too, they were comparing another movie that I love, the Frighteners,
love the Frighteners.
And
I've never seen it.
And then the Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. So, anyways,
I gotta see that. Sounds great.
We need to cover it on this show. So the guy that plays the judge in The Frighteners is a ghost old zombie like cowboy too. So so it kind of maybe references to this a little bit.
Carmelo, it's classic. It's a comedy horror, but then turns really dark.
It turns dark, yeah.
But it's comedy. So it's like Michael J. Fox has a couple actual ghosts that are doofuses, you know, that conspire with him and his psychic ghost riddance business. So he'll send them into a house and they'll start messing shit up, and then he'll go in and expel them and then get paid to do that.
That sounds awesome.
Which the judge in it is the like ghost, one of his ghost guys. That's the ghost cowboy, and he looks almost like Gramps. So when you see it, just you can see
the comedy trio. They're like your normal floating ghosts, and then then they open up something.
Sure, the wrong house they go into, and it's already haunted.
They interact with something much darker. Then it gets more of a horror, and it's pretty cool though. You gotta check it out.
Hey.
Anyways, so just a couple things I noticed when they're out drunk. It's him and Charlie, Gramps and Charlie, getting drunk under the stars.
The scene, it was just ridiculously.
Which
ridiculous.
is a matte painting as well. When they drive back, he's like, "Oh, you're drunk. I better drive," even though he's wasted, of course. When they drive back, he is just Charlie's driving. You can see from behind, but then when they pull in the driveway, Gramps is driving. So they just had a little continuity error.
They used that car sequence with them driving away and then driving back. It seemed like it was the same sequence that was used when Charlie and his girlfriend pull up.
They just make sure that they hit that pillar every time. Yeah. And that's the running gag, is they hit that pillar.
Yeah, I liked it. I was like Home Alone.
Yeah, it was like Home Alone.
And then when the cops get there, they also hit it too.
Can I just say I'm enjoying all these new Home Alone memes where it's like The Purge versus Kevin McAllister and I saw The Purge, and then what else did I see? I saw something else comparing it. It was like, who would win? And then, people are commenting, well, how much prep time does Kevin have? It was the Predator. It was Predator versus, because, Schwarzenegger booby trapped some shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Predator versus Kevin McAllister. Who would win? It's like, how much prep time does Kevin have?
I haven't seen him. I don't think I've seen him yet.
That was pretty funny. Anyways,
oh my God, Kevin McAllister!
Oh God!
Yeah,
my eardrums,
tuning fork into my penis hole.
Son of a penis!
I know, goodness, in my green, scaly, smiling, panting penis hole.
Goodness, panting.
That means it's time.
Caterpillar dog penis.
Horror
halftime.
All right, we do have a horror freak of the week.
Woo!
I don't know why I'm German when I say that. We have a horror freak of the week. Freak of the week.
Freak of the week.
And that is Alicia Bonet.
Yeah. We got a newbie.
Yes, new horror freak of the week. So message me on the Cult Classic Horror page. Shirt size, address. We'll send you out a t-shirt. You are the horror freak of the week. Also, new big announcement that we just all decided over here at CCH. You can now just win every week as unlimited times. So
we decided, screw it.
David Martin,
you guys deserve
Freddie
it.
Torres, Oliver Beagan, all you guys that
all you guys, Thad, Lance, the two Lances,
everyone that
we want to reward you guys,
Jimmy.
Because you don't stop, even though you can't win a prize. You've never stopped, and so we want to thank you.
I know. So now there's no cap. There's no cap on when you can win, how many times you can win. If it's the same people every week, we're just gonna have the same winners every week. I will say that we are not giving away a shirt. So once when you win the first time, you win a shirt. All right, and then from then on, as you win repeat times, we're actually getting all of our logos and funny little things made into stickers. Just for instance, we have the Judd Cult Classic Horror shirt. We have the Pizza Hut shirt. We have a new White Claw design that should be launched in the store by the time you're listening to this.
Fucking White Claw.
I know, it's
a little ridiculous, but you know what?
So
it's a logo.
For those of you just tuning in for the first time, you too can win these and other incredible prizes by being the horror freak of the week.
Yeah, sorry, Carmel. I keep forgetting that sometimes people are actually listening to this for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually is true or if I just want it to be true. But either way, if you're listening,
I think it's true.
You guys,
it is true.
I'll explain that when I'm done with this point here. So you can win multiple times. We will be giving away those stickers. So those of you guys that have played a ton probably already have a shirt. You probably already have 3 shirts. You probably already have the Cult Classic Horror sticker. Well, now we're going to have all those quirky, wacky designs in sticker form, and we're going to be sending those out to you every week, and you can win as many times as you want, and we'll just keep sending you stickers because they're only a few bucks for us to make and send, so it's not a big deal. So, but yes, what Carmelo was trying to say and what should have been at the beginning is the horror halftime is your chance to participate with us and win prizes every single week. So if you will simply create a meme that has to do with the film we covered the previous week, post it in our group, the Cult Classic Horror Show on Facebook, and then use the hashtag horror halftime, you are automatically entered to win and to become the horror freak of the week. For, as I just said, the first time you win, you at least get a t-shirt.
So Alicia will be getting a t-shirt.
Yes, then as you keep winning, you will get free stickers, on and so forth. And as I think, I always said this before, I just want to reiterate, I should start checking the other channels. Because we do have some people that only don't have Facebooks. They're just on Twitter. They're on Instagram. We just need to become better about checking those. So please, yes, you can post a horror halftime meme on Instagram. Please, you just have a couple things to do. Please use the hashtag horror halftime, and please tag us at Cult Classic Horror so that we see it. So tag us at Cult Classic Horror in the image, and then use the hashtag cult or horror halftime, please.
And we've had a couple people ask us about Instagram specifically.
And
so yes,
same thing on Twitter. Just tag us at CC Horror on Twitter with your meme, so it pops up in our notifications, and we'll take note of that. Mm-hmm. Cool.
And I want to thank some of the horror, the CCH elites, we call them, or the regulars, should I say, that have created some of these designs that we'll put on these stickers. And I know that we have too, but thank you guys for helping out.
Yeah, Lance, thank you.
Lansdale did
Garcia,
one, and
thank
Aaron.
You, and please keep them coming. That's actually a very convenient way for us to get these designs. If you guys are creative enough and can participate and create them, then we love you for it. And just send them to me, and I'll get them on T-shirts.
Hell yeah.
I'll at least send you the shirt of the design you made, or the sticker or whatever. So Lansdale has a White Claw shirt coming to him.
Goodness.
Cool. And just one announcement, because it's still going on before we conclude the horror halftime. We did reach to over 200% funded on Kickstarter for our film, She Walks the Woods. We do have a pre-order store open now, where if you missed out on the Kickstarter, or even if you want to upgrade what you got through Kickstarter, you can go to preorders.shewalksthewoods.com, and you can check out our online store there for things like Blu-rays, posters, T-shirts, the tie-in novel that Carmelo is working on, and a lot of cool goodies, and even wall canvases. So please check that out.
And if you backed the campaign and you didn't already fill out your Kickstarter survey, you got a survey in your email, and we need you to complete it in order to give you your rewards. And 60 of you so far, give or take, have not. So if you're one of the 60 people who have not filled out your survey, please log in and do so. You still have time. It's just we really need that, to get you your stuff. So
yeah, and we actually, if you're supposed to be credited in the film, we really need that so we can get picture lock, get this final cut sent off to our distributor. That's what we're waiting on.
Yeah.
So, and we're having to create these featurettes too. So, we're going to be really irked if we're done with the featurettes and everything's edited and we still don't have the correct names for the credits. Your name might just not go in the credit, or we'll just use your Kickstarter backer name. So there you go. All right, that concludes the horror halftime. Sorry, guys, that was a long one.
Yeah, we had a lot to get through. We had to explain it.
All right, back to some notes here.
House toot.
Wrap this up.
House toot.
In a bit here. So Bill Maher, obviously, in this, he's probably the biggest name, I suppose, to come out of this.
Yeah. He's also the biggest douchebag to come out of it.
Yes. Biggest douchebag to come out of it.
Is just the biggest piece of shit, and I've been trying not to just bash him this entire time.
You're very good, Carmelo. Rob would have been going crazy by now.
I actually don't even. I know he has a show, and I've never watched his show. I don't follow him at all. I just know Bill Maher exists, and I don't know anything more about him.
He's a very familiar face. I know he has.
So I can't if I knew more about him, I'd probably be bashing him too. But I just don't know. I don't know.
He just has made his whole career off of being a big asshole with this whole if you disagree with me, you're dumber than I am attitude. And first, let's get one thing perfectly clear: I'm way smarter than you, Bill Maher. Just in case you're wondering. And second of all, the guy is just an irreverent piece of trash. And the humor we have, in the podcast and in the group, we take a lot of shots. There's a lot of teasing and good fun.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of, what do you want to call it? There's a lot of, lowbrow humor, but it's all in good fun, and it's all generally, we all know each other, and it's okay. This guy, I remember when Steve Irwin died, who, this guy was a great guy and lauded for his conservation efforts. He was killed in a tragic accident. He was impaled to the chest, I think, by a stingray.
Yeah.
And that Halloween, months later, Bill Maher dresses in a Steve Irwin costume with a stingray sticking out of his chest as a costume. And this isn't just this isn't a joke from a movie where he's dressing like a character who died. This is a human being whose family attended his funeral months earlier and has to see pictures of Bill Maher on the internet with a stingray coming out of his chest.
Yeah.
He's at it again a couple months ago when Stan Lee died, and he went on this soapbox about how pathetic it is that so many people were sad that this comic book author died. We're all a bunch of nerds for caring that Stan Lee died. It's man, this guy, first of all, a guy died, and second of all, he created a lot of work that made people happy. You're out there spreading cynicism and meanness.
Yeah.
And you're just going to make fun of everybody who wants to make the world a happier place? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. There's so many people that hate him. And I did see that with Steve Irwin and then with Stan Lee too.
Carmelo's passionate.
So many people hate him too. So.
Yeah, I won't go on and on about him because he's done a lot of things, except just to say he really is just a big, big old piece of shit.
Well, you'll like this fact. When he was pulling into the studio to do his sound dubbing, he had just bought a Mercedes, probably his first big purchase because he was still on the coming up and up.
Yeah.
And while backing it in, just completely scraped the entire side on the cinder block wall. And sort of shrugged it off and just said, it's bound to happen at some point. Just didn't think it would be the day I got it.
And to how he is in real life, he does play the asshole boss in this. He plays he plays Kate's boss, and obviously he steals Jesse's girl, Kate, from him, and
he wished that he had Jesse's girl.
Yeah, Jesse's girl, exactly.
That must be where the title of that song came from.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I don't know if the timing's right on that.
There was actually, we were talking about Stan Lee and comic books. There was, and you probably already know this, Danny. There was Marvel released a comic book version of this film called House 2.
I didn't know
the
that.
second story. And it was released the same year the movie came out, but a little bit after. And it was written by Ralph Macchio, who is no relation to the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio, but he wrote for Marvel, and he wrote this. So yeah, there is a comic book out there called House 2, the second story, and I'm looking at the cover right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. A couple
It has the cowboy on it. What's the cowboy's name again?
Either Gramps or Slim.
Slim Razor. Slim Razor. Yeah.
David Arnott is the name of a guy who was in that banana outfit. He wrote Last Action Hero and actually was in some, I think, 007 movies, or no, sorry, Fugitive. But yeah, funny little tidbit. I don't know if you noticed the guy in the banana outfit.
No, I didn't.
The Halloween party?
Oh, yeah.
I noticed it, but I didn't realize he was anybody.
And then you got Kane Hodder in the gorilla outfit that gets punched and...
Who did his own stunt, falling off the banister, because he's the stunt coordinator again.
And, I mean, that caveman guy is just huge. I guess he was a strongman, I think, held a record for some a weightlifting record. I mean, Kane Hodder's not a small guy, and this guy makes Kane Hodder look like a 12-year-old.
Yeah. This guy's name is Gus Rethwish.
Yeah, he was
Arnold.
huge.
It was so funny when he was like yelling and running up the stairs with the crystal skull.
Yeah.
It was just and sorry, but Gramps, you put the crystal skull on the mantle, just there for everyone to see.
It's not safeguarding it at all.
It's not safeguarded at all. It's in this little like wooden like holder. I mean, you got to lock that up. I mean, no wonder it goes missing like every single night. But that's all right.
That bothered me a lot. Is they're like, oh, we got to protect the skull. Evil spirits come from anywhere.
Yeah.
To get this skull, and we've built this house as a special altar, sort of the temple to protect it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do shit to protect it.
No, it's
It's like
sitting on the
Aztecs
mantle.
jumping out of the shadows and stuff, grabbing this thing, and there's no protection at all in that little holster that they set it in.
No,
No,
not at all.
No. It looks like it doesn't even really fit there.
Yeah. And my wife pointed out, my wife, God rest her soul.
Is she dead?
No,
God
she's
rest her
still
soul.
with us. She watched this movie with me, and I told her not to. I said, honey, don't. You don't have to do this. And she did it anyway, and obviously you can tell from my words she did not survive the process.
She didn't. She bowed out early.
No, she survived House 2. She pointed out that skull was perfectly safe in that guy's grave. It was perfectly fine.
Oh yeah. But then Gramps would have never got dug up, and then he would never came into the story.
Just throw it back in the ground.
Exactly, and bury it. Leave it there.
I don't know.
My wife watched this with me actually, and she actually liked it a lot.
I told my wife she'd probably like it as a comedy horror, but she didn't watch it with me. I watched it while she was gone, so it was my fault. She wouldn't have done it anyways. Yes, so I started talking about bringing the doors to Griffith Park. They talked once again about being given free reign with this film. We talked about this on The First House, where it was back in the day where you just got the money, then you got to go make the movie. That sort of happened with this again. The studio did want another house movie, quote unquote, but they were on board with. They didn't want to use people. They didn't want to pay them anymore. They just said, "Hey, whatever direction you think it should be, that's fine." I'm sure they got some kind of approval, but otherwise, they just sort of ran with it, and made up their own story, and it was pretty out there. They just went for it. So not too many constrictions. You talk about the skull. I do want to zoom through a few of these here. Yeah, the bird puppet that had the skull in its mouth for a very long time.
Pterodactyl.
Yeah, pterodactyl.
So cute.
It's tough to hold that skull. First of all, the skull was made out of this urethane. I forgot the other substance, but it was about 5 pounds. They had no option to do a light version of it. And then it had a sort of optical cable running in it that could be lit different colors. So that people could hold it. Sometimes that cable had to run down their sleeve. So it was not very light, not very great to carry. So when you had the puppeteer trying to hold it in the bird's mouth, it couldn't hold it. So pretty much whenever he's fighting with the bird to get it out of the mouth, he's just like holding it in the mouth while he's trying to, quote unquote, yank it out of the mouth. So I thought that was, interesting. And then I just briefly heard Ethan Wiley say in an original draft he had, all of the characters were supposed to die at the hands of Slim Razor. That would have been a dark ending to this jolly movie.
So that was the first.
That wouldn't have fit at all.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
The movie it would have been pretty awesome, but the movie's got to you get, when you make a movie, you get a chance to establish your logic, you get a chance to establish your tone and your rules. And that just doesn't feel like it fits with the tone or the rules of the
That would not have fit with this movie.
It was a super early draft where the whole tone was different. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I could see that.
Yeah.
And, I prefer my horror comedy a little more horror than this, probably.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2,
in my mind,
perfect movie.
Yeah,
Evil Dead 2 is right
the perfect
there.
horror.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
For that exact reason. And in that movie, you could get away with it. In fact, Evil Dead 2, they do. They kill everybody except for one. And
that's true.
That's fine. This movie, it'd be weird if they killed everybody.
Evil Dead 2, you wanted Jake to die, and you wanted Bobby Joe to die. They were annoying as fuck.
Just shut their mouths and kill them.
And you I sort of wanted Nobi to die because she was just not that cute, and was
A
really
bitch.
bossy.
We're gonna go on an Evil Dead tangent, I think, because we all love those movies.
We
and I
always
have
do.
no
So I'm just
to
saying,
say
you know,
about those characters.
Yeah, we wanted to see him die.
So the audience, yeah.
I gotta say,
Suffice it
character-wise,
to say, if Bill Maher had gotten his head blown,
That
the fuck
would have been
off in
nice.
this
That would've been-
movie
yeah,
by
That would have been
Or-
great.
That would have been
ladies.
great. Slim, whatever his name is, could have shot him up all day long on screen. Of
Slim
course.
Razor.
Of course, in the movie only. I'm not saying in real life.
yes, of
you
course.
understand.
Well, speaking of likable
But-
characters, I have to admit that I love this Charlie Jesse duo. Like
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
I didn't hate him when he was drunk in the beginning. I want to see just that franchise. I want to see more movies with these guys.
Ari
just-
Gross and
just
Jonathan
running
Stark.
around
Yeah.
in their hijinks.
Yeah.
Granted, they look pretty aged and rugged now in the featurette. Nothing like they did then.
They need to make a comeback and
But
and
I don't know if
do
I'd
this
enjoy
again.
watching them anymore. But back then, you know, they had some good chemistry. They should have kept it going.
Yeah, and then
I agree. Actually, Charlie really grew on me, and the two of them as a duo really grew on me.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
at first I hated Charlie, but then I'm like, oh, I love this guy. And then it kind of it was just them and Gramps. Gramps was kind of part of that duo. And but yeah, it was.
Can
it
we
was
talk
really
about
good.
Cliff now? Can we talk
Yeah.
about the
I'm
electrician?
almost
Dude,
there.
the
I'm almost
electric-
there.
yeah.
Let me hold on. I'm almost
I
there.
briefly
Let me just-
touched on
let me
it
just
in-
zoom off.
in
Let me
my
zoom
rundown.
on here real quick. Just
Sorry.
couple one-offs here. I already talked about how they went to Griffith Park to do the jungle, but they did build that redwood he's climbing with footholds and everything. So they did that. Also, what characters were supposed to time? I just put in here Manfredini again. It's just the score by
Yep.
Manfredini again. So that's good.
Got the same crew back.
He's able to do something that's not monotonous like Friday the 13th.
There's a lot of Friday the 13th feel like
Well,
in
you
the
have
in the
what's her
beginning.
name played Tina in Friday the 13th, Part 7.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I knew
Amy
I
Yazbek.
recognized her.
Yeah.
Is that her?
She's yeah.
The redhead?
No.
No. The girlfriend.
The girlfriend.
The
The
girlfriend.
wife/girlfriend.
The girlfriend.
Yeah.
The not wife.
Yeah, the not wife, whatever she is. She played Tina
That
because
rest-
Kane Hodder talked about working with her on Part 7.
Yeah, her name is Lar Park Lincoln.
Yes.
As Kate.
She played Tina, who had psychic abilities or psychokinesis,
That's right.
whatever it was, in Part 7. Which honestly, I heard that in the commentary. I'm not the hugest Friday the 13th follower, so I like you just say Part 7. I can't just pull Part 7 out of my head. Like you would
Yeah.
have to tell me a couple things to happen.
Yeah.
and I'd be like, oh yeah,
Me-
Part 7.
Me too.
You know, I'm not. Rob's always like, oh yeah, Part 6. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what happened in Part 6.
Yeah. If I watched them over and over again like Rob does, I'd probably get it. But
Anyways, yes. Now my note. John Ratzenberger. Here he is.
Cliff Clavin.
He was actually in Star Wars too. I didn't know this. Briefly fighting alongside like Luke Skywalker as a Jedi or as a troop. I don't even know. I don't even know where he was. I just know he was in there. So the point is he was in there, had stage combat experience also was a big theater actor in England, and so was able to do all his own fighting stunts, had studied some judo, and then also his lines, he had a written script, but he just went off it, they said, and he was improvising left and right, and no take was the same, and
So good.
production was like, hey, we need to get him saying at least the same stuff every time, and Ethan Wiley just made an executive decision and said, no, I'm just going to let him go. He's spouting some gold here, and I'm just going to let the editors deal with it later.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, just his whole scene, him coming in and him ripping the cord
What
out
they
of the
said,
wall.
the most popular line in the whole freaking movie is, yeah, looks like you got an alternate universe in there.
Yeah. Just like nonchalantly saying it, casually saying it.
That was the only time I literally laughed out loud when I watched this movie.
Yeah.
When he said that.
Yeah.
I did. So
when
talk
I
about
watched
him,
it-
Carmelo. We're here.
Yeah, so when I watched it with Chris, my wife is named Chris, and she said, I think this is like the scene in the first movie where the neighbor just drops off her kid, and we have this like 10-minute babysitting excursion cut right into the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
And at first, this is when he first walks in, because he's going on and on looking around his house, just like totally killing the pacing. And I agreed with her, and I was getting impatient. I'm like, yeah, I would like to get back to the point of this movie. And then by the time the guy leaves, he's got like a sword, and he's fighting with them. And
His
he's,
glasses are all
like,
foggy.
Yeah, he's like a total badass.
Well, what's your opinion? What do you think he is? Is he literally an electrician that actually does see this a lot, or was he magically sent in just this situation to be sort of like their guardian angel or something? Like, what do you think?
Well,
I think you're reading really far into it.
That's
there,
what I'm wondering.
Well, his
card says adventurer.
His card says adventurer/electrician Bill. So I think he's summoned there because he knows what's in the house. Because nothing is surprising to him. It's like, oh yeah, this and that, and he fights him, and he's like all excited about fighting, and he has a sword with him. I mean, no electrician has a sword with him.
I'm just saying, it seems like maybe he was otherworldly too, or he was
kind of
too.
Yeah,
like Gramps or like any of these other things that come into the house.
The caterpillar dog, the pterodactyl. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what.
I think the movie is just it's a style of humor they call absurdist humor, and I think he's a guy who is a working class blue collar electrician like any other electrician, and on the side he's also an adventurer. And as an adventurer, he sees this stuff all the time, and it just so happens that this time, his electrician job and his adventuring hobby.
And I think Jesse, he's like, I didn't call an electrician, and obviously they said that his wife. They said that his wife did, but I never saw her call the electrician, so maybe he just mysteriously showed up.
I think he was sent by whatever, the ether.
Gramps knew that they needed him.
You know what? At first I thought that was silly, Danny, but then as I explained how I saw it, I realized that was equally silly. So I'm starting to lean toward what you guys are thinking. It is weird that he shows up mysteriously and no one called him, despite the explanation about the wife.
I don't know. I want to see a spin-off of his character.
Yeah.
He could have been a great.
I wish he came back,
like Rod Serling, to show up in all the installments of the anthology.
That would have been great if he came back at the very end when Jesse was fighting Razor and just came in with the sword and helped him out or something. It would have been awesome.
They did have that temple set, obviously a set when they go in there. Actually, did have 6 to 8 foot drops around each of those little platforms where they're jumping back and forth from. And Kane Hodder did the rope swinging stunt and went to sort of just do it, and I guess hit the altar on accident, started spinning like crazy, and fell off like 10 feet onto his back.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, had a little scare, like thought he broke his leg, but he didn't. It sounded a little crazy.
Good thing that guy is just like an indestructible monster of a man. Yeah.
He's probably like, I got this, here. Then he did it and went all crazy.
I would have called in sick for a week after that.
He was once again the stunt coordinator here, but then did most of the stunts himself as well. And then the virgin being sacrificed was Playboy Playmate of the Year, Devin DeVasquez.
Yeah, I saw that.
She complained because the skull right above her head, mounted in that little altar type thing where it doesn't really fit, fell off and bonked her on the head while she was laying there.
5 pounds of lithium or whatever you said.
In the commentary, Ethan Wiley just sort of said, "Oh, that happened," and brushed it off. And then when she was being interviewed, she's like, "Yeah, I had a minor concussion. I had to go to the hospital from set." It's like, really? It fell 6 inches off its pedestal onto your forehead. Come on now.
So, and it appears that she gets with Jesse at the very end there, like they're like lovers now because Kate's out of the picture, which brings me Kate's friend is Lana, is Amy Yazbek, and I was like, I know her from somewhere. That's the pantless dancing girl, and she's from Dracula Dead and Loving It, and then she's also from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Well, she's in Wings, I guess.
In Wings,
and so you had Steven Weber in Wings and her in Wings, and they were both in Dracula Dead and Loving It, which is one of the best movies ever made.
So she must have, Mel Brooks probably liked her a lot, and maybe her and Steven Weber had a thing. I
will say that, what's his name again that played Charlie?
Jonathan Stark.
Jonathan Stark openly in his interview, they're probably, I don't know when the interview was done, but they're old. It was just in love with her. Oh, I had a huge crush on her.
Amy
Yazbek, and most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And he was not even, he's just super serious, almost like dead-eyed into the camera, Oh, I still keep in touch with her. I'm sure you do.
Did he look old? Was it pretty? Yeah.
He looked all right. He probably looked the best out of them. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways,
she still looks good.
Is she really?
Yeah. I'm looking. I just looked at her. She's looking really good still for her age.
Wow. No, who doesn't look good was that Playmate of the Year. She don't look very good.
Oh yeah, Devin. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. She's got some saddlebags on his triceps.
Oh my.
So. Rudy's talking in the background.
Brutal way to say it.
She's married to who?
She was married to John Ritter.
John Ritter. She was married to John Ritter.
The Playboy play model was married to John Ritter.
So shouting
Amy Yazbek was.
Rudy's sitting in the corner, like looking at his phone.
Who?
Rudy, our drummer.
Rudy's our drummer for our pool set at Flamingo.
We have band practice after this, and Rudy came early, and I said, "You can." He just sat in the corner while we
came early.
Podcast.
That is super funny. I think that's hilarious.
That's why we're not wearing headphones. I thought I told you this before we hit record.
I guess you did, but
I took the headphones off.
Rudy was going to be literally in the same room.
Yeah,
in the corner.
because I didn't want
weird.
If we had our headphones on, then he would only hear us talking, and I was like, if he's going to sit through the whole podcast, I might as well project Carmelo so that he can hear the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Here's
misunderstood what was going on there. I thought he came in.
You're like, who are they talking to?
And then he went somewhere else.
No.
I guess.
Here's a couple funny things that I wanted to point out too. So Gramps wants them to get the skull the whole time, and if he doesn't have the skull, he's gonna die, even though he dies at the very end and has the skull with him. But anyways, they're finding the skull. They're going through all this prehistoric land. They're going, through the jungle. They have the barbarian running after them, and like they're down in the basement where Gramps is sleeping, and he's just like, "What about the beer? Did you get the beer?" And doesn't even care about the skull.
I did think he was.
So those lines are a little. I mean, they're funny, but it was just.
I thought he was a little.
Don't forget the beer.
Helpful in all this.
Yeah.
I figured he would be more helpful. Like he might have these super undead powers.
That's what I was saying.
But they didn't give him any old man dead strength or any kind of intuition about anything, or he didn't really divulge any cool information. Like what I was watching at one point, and what was it? I think it's apparent that the skull glows when someone's coming near to get it. Do you guys think that's what happens?
Yeah,
it glows blue when someone is coming
so.
To get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the skull's only magical power that we see is the ability to warn when someone's on their way to steal it.
Yeah,
when it's in the mantelpiece thing.
And it seems like he knows that, Gramps, but he didn't divulge that information to anybody.
Yeah,
it's just he's just not very helpful at all. But he is. I like him, but he's just not helpful.
Yeah, he was a great character, but he cared about the beer and was just having a fun time at the Halloween party. And
he was, yeah.
Dancing with the ladies.
Couple things. There was a stuffed horse in the Western room.
I saw that. I'm like, is that a real horse? A straight up horse.
Ethan Wiley grew up with a stuffed horse in his house. His dad was an artist and was gifted this stuffed horse randomly by someone, and so he thought it'd be funny to put a stuffed horse on their set.
So that was his stuffed horse.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. It wasn't his. It was a different one. They got the props got a hold of.
Oh, I see.
Whatever art department, And then one thing I was sort of confused about till even the second time I watched it with commentary is that I know that the skull supposedly is the source of life because Gramps needs it to live, but then he dies anyway. So then I was like, maybe it's not the source of life. What does it really even do? But then Slim Razor pulls it out of his stomach, sort of, and this is what I realized in the commentary, sort of to show and tell everybody, like, look, this is keeping me alive. It's inside of me, and to taunt him, I have it now. And then it really flares up and scares him for no reason whatsoever, and he drops it.
Well, I didn't understand.
Like lightning crashes, and he gets scared and drops it.
Maybe the skull knew he was evil.
I didn't understand that either, because at first it's when Jesse's staring at him forever, and then they had a stare off, and then he drops the skull. I'm like, wait, did Jesse distract him with his staring eyes at him, or did the skull burn in his hands or something? I didn't really get why he was defeated.
Yeah.
But anyways, really the only couple things I have left is that he does exit the house into the 1800s, which is a good thing because, yeah, he would have been arrested for murdering and shooting at the cops and all this stuff. But it is sort of, we talked about this in House 1. It was sort of poltergeisty when they go through the mirror.
Yeah.
It's sort of poltergeisty when the doors open. It's just white light coming from it.
Yeah.
And even Ethan Wiley was like, "Yeah, it's sort of Spielberg-y there." Took that from there. So there's that, and then
the Titanic sinks newspaper behind the mirror or behind one
they
of
had
the.
no comment on that.
Yeah, that was
that.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. Just showing it's old, I guess. One thing that I did take note of, that just as a filmmaker, I thought was interesting, is they made this because they had advances already on releasing on distribution from distributors. So I guess that's probably a normal thing with bigger films, is that you have not necessarily Lionsgate, but whoever they work with for distribution to the US and to the UK was saying already, well, we're going to advance you, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like $500,000 or something. We'll advance you $500,000. You make the movie, then you give it to us to distribute, and then they must keep it till they're paid back. But as an independent filmmaker these days, I don't think you ever hear that anywhere. An advance from a distributor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this was $3K budget. Box office was $3K budget.
$3 million.
$3 million. You said five grand, so I had grand in my head. So $3 million budget, $10 million box office. So it made more, but it had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of negative ones, of course, but as all movies do. But there's a lot of good ones. Obviously, that just saying it's a grand old time, more of a family movie, an adventure movie, which we kind of touched on that too. So it did good for the budget still.
But yeah, I mean that's all my notes. I enjoyed it. I didn't even mind watching it second time with the commentary. I thought it was a good time. But yeah, I don't know when I'll watch it again. But
you have it dish set.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I guess if we could do like a closing thoughts segment is maybe a nice way to bookend the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think talking through it all has made me think of it more fondly than when I first watched it.
It always does. This always happens to me where I watch it, and then, with me, I then watch the commentary. I watch it again, and by the end of the commentary, I'm always like, you know what? I did like that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when I first watched it, I think some of this... Yeah, and I like to have a pretty good, sense of whimsy about things. I think it keeps you young. But even this movie, there was stuff that would pop up, and at first I was like, "Oh, that's weird. That's dumb. This is goofy." And now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, "No, you know what? Though it all worked for me. It was all pretty charming and quirky, and a little silly, and that's not a bad thing."
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, there was times where I was like, "Oh, that's kind of dumb," and like, that's very cheap, and the animation sucked on that. But then again, that's just how it was, and like the skeleton horse and him climbing up the tree and the dinosaur in the background, like that was all. It all just worked. So it was a good time for sure.
Well, cool. Final segment. What did you watch? I watched Stranger Things 3 this week. The whole season. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I might have watched one episode last
Look at Rob over here. Watching the complete season.
I watched over like 3 nights.
You like how Rob's not here, but use his name as an insult?
Yeah.
It's like only 8 episodes. I watched it over 4 days, nights. I might have watched even 2 of them last week and forgot to talk about it. I think I did.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's actually this 3rd season way more horror than either of the first 2, I think. Because Shannon was all down with it the first season, and then, wanted to continue watching the 2nd season. And then as we watched this 3rd, she was like just finishing it because she started it, but she was like, this is a little too much horror for me. Like,
really?
Yeah. So
did you guys like the 2nd season?
Yeah.
Better than the first was better. I hear.
Yeah, you know what? It's not super memorable. I'd have to
I've seen the first. I just haven't seen the 2nd yet.
But the 3rd was pretty good.
I think the 2nd gets a bad rap. I think the ending is awesome. There's one episode that has mixed reception, which, by the way, I thought was good. And people talk about the whole season and like it's a misstep.
I need to watch it.
I liked it. I think the first one may be a little better because it is more. Because it's new and it's fresh.
Yeah.
And the 3rd season freshens everything back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why 1 and 3 are.
So it was good. I think that was the only the only horror thing that I watched. Yeah, I was gonna watch. Or what did I? No, I think I watched one other thing. I watched Us. I rented Us.
Oh yeah. You said it was.
I don't think I talked about that last time.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and so I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was like, yeah, it was good. It was
Best horror movie of all time?
No.
Okay.
But it was good.
I know. I saw a critic say that. I'm like, really?
No. It wasn't scary. Not nearly scary enough to be the best horror movie of all time. It was. I wouldn't even like. It is horror, sort of, because there is some creepy factor to it. But once you like realize what it is and what's going on, it's not like as scary. Like they could have made it way scarier. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it starts and you see the people, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it already. I'm sure everyone pretty much has. Like it starts and there's still the mystery about who are these people and what are they doing and why do they look like them. But then you realize that's it. But I mean, there is a deeper thing to it. But it wasn't that scary. I'm like, if they could turn uglier or had some kind of like crawl on ceilings, just visually it could have been scarier.
Yeah.
So that's all.
I disagree. I thought it was terrifying, but I think this would make a great topic for the live show we've been talking about doing, where we do modern movies.
Yeah, because you're wrong, and we could talk about that.
I still need to watch it.
No,
So
I mean, okay, it is scary in the fact that it could happen. Like, I don't know if you're that kind of guy, Carmelo, because we haven't really talked about this that much. Where like, when you think something's scary because it could happen, but that's like not. That's like not me. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I guess I've never thought of it in those terms. Either stuff bothers me or it doesn't, and I think stuff that could happen, yeah, that's scary. I don't know, stuff that plays with the way I look at the world scares me.
It was mainly just cut. Okay, I will admit that the whole idea of it and the whole thing of if that was really happening, that would be pretty scary. But just in the moment of like home invasion, like that doesn't scare me because I like a good fight, and I don't know. That sounds really asshole-ish and like macho man to say, but I'm just not afraid of people. You know what I mean? So even if that person is an alternate me, like I'd be like, let's do this. Let's do it. So if there's a killer with them, that's like the Strangers and the Purge, like all that shit isn't really scary to me because I'm like, let's do it. Come on in and let's throw down. Like I'm like, cool, let's do that. But I can understand why a lot of like women or something that scares the shit out of them because they're like, someone could come in and rape me.
I'm helpless. Yeah.
What scares me is like possession scares me the most out of anything because it feels like you're totally out of control if you get possessed, and then if your spouse is possessed, it's like, do they have superpowers? Can they like throw you against the wall? You know what I mean? It's like shit.
Yeah, I see what you mean though. I get it, and that jives with things you've said before about like Chucky or whatever. You would just punt him and
punt him.
Dolls don't scare you. And I do see that because when I watch horror movies where it's people or something you could overpower, whether I could or not in reality, I'm sitting on the couch going like, just hit him again.
Exactly.
Don't stop,
frustrates me so much.
But yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but it seems like this is more likely to happen in this day of age. So it is kind of scary. Like, holy shit, what if this happened to me?
Anyways, I didn't mean to start a whole tire.
So
rant on Us and.
What did you watch, Carmelo? Did you get anything?
Yeah. And it's funny as I say it, I'm forgetting if I mentioned this last week because now I don't remember what night I saw this. Did I mention Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did too. I watched it too.
Didn't mention that.
What'd you think?
Dude, okay, so my wife hated it, but I loved it.
I loved it too. I thought it was great.
I mean, here I'll just go first. We watched it on Friday night, and it was very just like all over the place, and but it was all just a moment in 1969 back in the day in Hollywood, and all these things happening. And like some of them integrated, some of them didn't. But it was very well acted. I was very entertained the whole time. Yeah, it's Quentin Tarantino. He's crazy and a crazy filmmaker. He's very unique and has different ideas. And I love that. It's like just out of the ordinary. It's not a movie you see every day. So I was very entertained.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And the movie was super long. And
it was long.
I didn't feel it though. Like
I didn't either.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, when movies are long, it does. Yeah, after a while, you can feel it. And recently, like Avengers came out, it was 3 hours long, and I didn't feel it because it's like breakneck action the whole time. Mm-hmm. This was not breakneck action, but it was just so engaging, and the characters and the way he shoots it was just so engaging that I feel like I could have sat there another half an hour. I was just like, this is really enjoyable. Very good movie.
When it was done, I was like, wait, is it over already? No.
That's what I mean. Exactly.
It hasn't been 3 hours yet because it's almost 3 hours long. And sure enough, I'm like, oh, I guess it has been because it just went by quick. Yeah, so... But it was good. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about it out there, but I thought it was good. My wife didn't care for it too much, but she thought the acting was great. So,
cool. Well, I think that wraps us up. Just make sure you guys check out preorders.shewalksthewoods.com. Check us out patreon.com/cultclassichorror if you want to support us. Please rate and review us on iTunes. Follow us at Cult Classic Horror on everything except at CC Horror on Twitter, at Danny Bonin, at Scotty Bonin, at Chimera's Comics, on all social media platforms. I guess it's at Danny B and at Scotty B on Facebook, but still.
BEE.
Yeah. Awesome. Join us next week, guys. We're going to be back with House 3, a.k.a. the horror show. So get those memes in now that you can win multiple times. And yes. Oh, and we will. This is being recorded a day early. So sorry if you got your meme in the day of recording. And we are actually going to record even another day early next week on Monday because Carmel is going to be out of the country. So definitely get your memes in before next Monday, this coming Monday. Okay, so get those in to be entered into the horror halftime.
And don't forget to visit preorders.shewalksthewoods.com.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next week.
Subscribe, rate, review. All right, see you later.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Love you guys.
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.